No movement, obviously, on North Street water main until well 12's completed. Only one water main break this month on Chicago. We did discover that's a 6-inch water main, along with on 4th Street replacing the lead service. We discovered that's a 4-inch or a 6-inch water main as well. All our mapping indicates 4-inch water mains. So trying to continue to preserve and update mapping is critical in Watsika. I mean, all our PDFs, all our mapping, it's not real helpful. So, you know, it's one of those, it's always a surprise around here. And then that brings us to, well, our source water plan was approved, so nothing really to discuss there. So talking about discovering water mains that are different size than our mapping shows are Belmont to, or Martin along Belmont to 6th to Mulberry. Water main project, we were upsizing that 4-inch to an 8-inch. We discovered 6th Street is already an 8-inch water main. Good news, bad news. That removes about $300,000 off of that project, but that project is TIF funded. That was deemed to be spent by the end of this year. So we have a $300,000 that we need to allocate to a project and start before the end of this year, or those funds get dispersed out.
That has to be in TIF 3
Or TIF 4.
or TIF 4.
So, that could be used for water, sewer, road work, but TIF 4 doesn't cover a big area. So we looked at different roads. The roads that need work are either too large or fall outside the TIF districts. So we were looking at the water main down 2nd Street. Years ago, we brought it down Fairman by the hospital, up 4th Street to Jackson the 2nd, and we tied it into the 4-inch water main that's extremely shallow. It is about 2 feet deep in some areas along South 2nd Street. So that is going to be a big issue in the future. It's been an issue with service lines freezing, breaking, things like that. So I'm looking at using the $300,000 out of TIF 3 into TIF 4 on that water main project. We ran some numbers. Unfortunately, to get from Jackson all the way to Cherry Street, and then we need to go loop that up Cherry Street the 3rd to complete that 8-inch loop there. You're looking at, I think, just 2nd Street was $1.2 million. What was it, about another $200,000 for that stretch from on Cherry Street from 2nd to 3rd. So I think what we need to do is break that down and try to do, 3 or 4 blocks at a time. It's not great, you tend to want to do a long stretch of water main, but I don't think we really want to try to fund this. So discussing funds available, we discovered that we have about $200,000 sitting in a 2019 water and sewer bond. We've been told we really need to utilize before we get penalized. So we have about $500,000 available between the TIF 3 district and the 2019 bond that we need to utilize. We can probably get from Jackson up to Adams Street, maybe a little bit further.
Is that the shallower part?
Yeah. So, I mean, that would tie on to the 8-inch coming down Jackson and start going north, and then we would just continue to look at that and, the future to try to get that loop completed.
Good idea. Let's use the money because we have to use it. So
well, we're in June, so I'd like to get this on the agenda next week. Okay. I think we need to start with engineering. We can bid it as a whole, but then you start breaking it apart, and you're going to have issues with contractors. So I would like to do this in at least 2 sections on 2nd Street on the engineering portion. You go out to bid for a complete project, and then you cut it in half. Contractors are gonna try to hit you with every change order, mobilization charge possible. So we really need to look at, 3 or 4 blocks, go out to bid this year, at least approve the project to the contractors to where they can say, hey, we ordered a coupling. And I think that says, okay, we move forward with the project. I don't think it necessarily has to be done this year. It just has to be in motion. And we can confirm that next week with legal.
Yeah.
So I'll have Keith run some numbers as far as engineering costs, try to get some numbers on the agenda for next week. And so again, that project on Belmont got scaled back because 6th Street, but it opens up other headaches. We've already talked about Elm Street. Wastewater, still working through our permit renewal. A couple items I want to discuss here. Two of our first flush pumps, which are very critical pumps. We have 3 in the first flush station. So whenever we have a large rain event, there are 85 horse pumps that divert flows from the sewer plant into our lagoon and our excess flow clarifier. 2 of them are down right now. We purchased a hoist 2 months ago to remove them, send them up north. They finally got them taken apart. They gave me quotes on new ones and then quotes on rebuilding them. They're about $100,000 each for new ones. They're about $62,000 each to rebuild. I have reached out to 2 other manufacturers to get comparable quotes, but we are going to be spending some money on pumps at the wastewater plant in the near future. But these are critical pumps. If that 3rd one goes down, we've got no way of diverting flows during rain events. So,
How old are they?
From 1998. So we've got our money's worth out of them, but it's a huge ticket item that.
Did they say enough condition to rebuild, or?
Well, that's my concern. It's like everything else, but the rebuild is it's a full rebuild. It's new shafts, new impellers, new windings. It's everything but the casing pretty much, and that's why it's $62,000 to rebuild a pump. So it's $201,000 to replace both of them.
With a warranty on them, the rebuilds?
I would have to check. It's probably a short warranty, if any. I think even new warranties are only 12 months.
That'd be my concern. If the cases are 1990s, how good are the cases going to hold up?
So,
30 years old, just buy a new one.
yeah, for another 80,000. That's why I've been waiting to get the rebuild prices, thinking, well, if it's 25,000 to rebuild a pump, that's a little more feasible. But with it being 62,000 versus 100, I myself would buy a new pump.
What's the availability of the new pumps?
Well, that's the other concern, is I haven't gotten a clear answer on that, but it's likely 12 to 16 weeks for a new pump.
What's the turnaround time on the rebuild?
Probably a month. It depends on. The problem with that is they're still getting the parts from overseas.
So it's going to be a delay on that.
You're still a delay on that. It's going to be less, but so I'm still waiting for some answers on timing, and then I'm trying to get some prices from a couple other manufacturers, because these are Xylem pumps. We have Willow pumps in other stations in other parts of the town. So Xylem is probably, I would say, the Rolls Royce of pumps. So, I mean, and then so I want to get some more prices. I'm hoping to get prices by next week, so I'll get quotes in front of you guys for next week's agenda. I'll get it on the agenda. I think we need to make a decision next week, at least get something ordered. Even if we move forward rebuilding one and purchase a new one, at least we'll get a rebuild sooner rather than later, and then purchase a brand new one and cycle them out that way. Last week we had an IEPA inspection, first time in sounded like 5 or 6 years. It's been quite a while. So we spent quite a bit of time getting things up to par, just doing some housework, some safety, signage, things like that. The EPA commented it's the best he's seen that plant in a very long time. He was very impressed. He's pretty impressed with the city putting money into the plant, getting things back up to 100% operation. So they were very impressed with the city. So kudos to the council for, putting money where it counts.
Kudos to you, Lauren.
Kudos to
Good work.
you. And I'd like to interject something. Now would be a good time to go look at that facility over there. I think Lauren will be more than
Right now?
happy. No, we'll wait till daylight.
It's still early, right? Like,
I gotta eat supper yet.
oh,
Okay. Well, anyway, you can give Lauren a phone call sometime and.
Like
Yeah.
to see it.
for sure. So, Locust Street, Brown Street, I know R&R, they were out. I'm not 100% sure if they got that. I believe they got the asphalt work done. I haven't drove over there myself.
I was
So,
trying to schedule a walkthrough with you and Brad.
okay.
And also thank you for filling that hole on Fifth Street.
That's what we do best is trying to take care of the potholes and yeah. So that's the spray patch machine, that's been super handy. So, let's see, major item here is the park, Oslet grant. Keith and I have things laid out. I had Kathy print out a picture of a band shell pavilion that I'm looking at. I think this is ideal. It's very similar to the one we have at Peters Park, only with a wood layer on the roof.
I got some other examples on my desk. I didn't bring them.
There's a million different options for band shells. I'm looking at a simpler design, similar to what we have at Peters Park, so it can be utilized as a pavilion as well. I don't know how much buy-in you guys want as far as decision-making there. But we have a good layout as far as where things are gonna go now, so.
Just keep in mind, this is a matching grant, so
Well, that's
Make it
why,
a
that's
nice
why
one.
I'm
We gotta-
looking at, that is gonna
yeah.
be on the cheaper end versus a $500,000 band shell that's out of this world and all wood and this is a metal frame with a wood roof interior side and then a metal roof on the outside. So I'm looking at longevity of this. This thing should outlast all of us,
Okay.
versus a wood structure that you're gonna be maintaining. Well, maybe, yeah.
This is very similar to the new one at Peters Park.
And it's the same shape, same design, only this has got the wood interior for acoustics.
Okay.
So, next item on parks. So we have an ordinance and quick claim that'll go on next week's agenda as well. So for some of the new council members, we've been working on this for a couple of years. Donovan Park, the trust has been falling short on funds. I think they have about $14,000 to maintain that park. They don't have the funds to keep up on it. We have been mowing and weed whacking, taking care of the grounds for the last, 2.5, 3 years since I've been here pretty much. We have not touched equipment because of the liabilities. We don't have insurance on that park. So we don't have the ability to fix equipment because then at that point we're taking on that liability. Donovan Park Trust, they want to turn this over. I think I finally have this moving in the right direction. So I'm hoping by next month we'll take possession of it and they'll sign over the remaining of the funds so then we can start making repairs. That park is the center of Watsika. I mean, that's such a heavily used park. I think it'd be good for Watsika. I know it's a burden, but we need to take it on, get it fixed back up, and provide another nice area for the kids. And
I agree, because
community.
there was a period of time that they were not mowing it, they were
Yeah.
not taking care of it, and so that's a good thing.
So we had a large tree branch, and trees go down a little while ago that damaged some equipment. So I mean, it's in it's in need of help. So,
Okay.
so next week that'll be on the agenda, and then hopefully next month we'll take possession of it. Streets, Gallagher got the second fall coat put on the heat and recycle project from last year. Charlie, I'll let you fill us in if you got any positive or negative comments
Sure you
there.
want me to fill
It's
you in
funny
on
you
that?
said that because I was just gonna ask Charlie.
I was gonna say,
If this holds up, I'll be happy.
okay.
Okay,
I'll let you guys know that
You
we've
let
been
us know.
through, West Side has been through a lot
Yep.
with the dust. I'm not
Yep.
blaming anybody, but it's been a very poor executed project, I think.
Well,
Not any
no,
against you. I know, I've
it's-
talked to you about it. I just, very poor engineering. Why we got Gallagher to do it or whoever did it. I would think we should tell them never to come back to Watsika again.
Well, they know we're not real happy with
Yes.
them.
Been
It
ridiculous, to be
it came down to I threatened legal on them last month because they kept kicking the can down the road. And I finally said, look, we're going to seek options, and then we're going to get legal advice on who's paying for this and liquidated damages. So
If this holds up, I'll be happy. It's really nice right now.
I was gonna say it's a huge improvement. So I'm hoping this solves some of the
Charlie's
headaches over
probably
there.
ready to do the rest of the roads.
I
and
think
if
we should-
Charlie's happy,
You know what I think.
we're all happy.
Well, you guys didn't have to live with it. Laugh if you want.
I
You didn't
know,
have to
I-
wash your car every day. You didn't
Oh,
have to
I
have your
know.
windows closed all summer long.
No,
I take offense to you guys laughing at me
Yeah, no, it
because it wasn't funny.
it needed.
no,
And you can laugh too,
Right.
Don, because you don't live on that street.
How about the railroad crossing?
I'm done.
Well, I apologize, Charlie. I don't think
not your
anybody meant.
fault.
I don't think anybody meant.
It's not
in
your
that
fault, but it's
way.
not funny either, like
We-
these guys think
yep.
it is.
So
It's because we're on West Side.
I think we're all just happy
Not
to
at
be
all,
moving
Charlie.
forward that it's completed now. So, Martin Avenue Extension, the sidewalks, curbs have been completed. They're doing some grade work out there now. The asphalt's scheduled for middle of July at this point. So hopefully we'll have a new road completed by end of July and it'll be opened up. And I have talked to the chamber about doing a ribbon cutting and hopefully we can do some marketing at that point and get Phil out there. To road projects, the TIF 3, that'll be July as well. They're planning on milling after the 4th of July. I pushed that out to avoid problems for our parade and everything over in that area. Cherry Street, I put this on there as a discussion. We have about $150,000 from our 2022 road bond. And again, that's funds that we need to utilize before we get penalized leaving money in a bond. Our engineering estimate was about $280 to do Cherry Street. By the end of this year, we'll have $100,000 in MFT funds available. You can use that in advance. So we could move forward with Cherry Street sooner rather than later if the council would like to utilize that bond and MFT funds this year. But keep in mind, and that leaves us with only $200,000 in next year's MFT funds.
we're talking 5th Street to 8th Street, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So Cherry Street's been a hot topic.
It's terrible.
So it's another situation with this bond sitting out there that we were advised that we need to utilize these funds.
If it's something you'd like to move on, I can have the resolutions for the MFT funds for next week's meeting. That way we keep it going, because it still will have to go to the state to get approved at that point with the MFT money. So the draft plans are at my desk right now, so I'll get those reviewed, but I'd like to get the paperwork here, if that's where you want to go with it,
Yeah.
so that we can get that to IDOT sooner than later.
And I pointed out Cherry Street mainly because we already approved engineering. Engineering has already started on this.
All right.
So it's a fairly quick project to move forward with. Possibly seeking okay bids, knowing that we have asphalt work coming in July, so we may be able to tie some of this together to receive fair pricing. No guarantees on that. Again, you were bidding in the middle of summer, so a bit of a crapshoot on what you're going to get.
Definitely get things ready for next Tuesday.
Okay.
Keith?
Okay.
Staffing, no real movement on that. I put a couple items on miscellaneous just because I wanted to touch base and explain ourselves to the council, knowing we have new council. There was some slandering online toward Public Works, one for the tree dump. I'd like to explain the situation there. Our staff member was out the day before on a Saturday chopping wood for himself and his dad. Sunday, we were on a water main break over by Legion Park. He was on that water main break until about 1:30. So he asked, hey, when I clock out, can I just load wood on my trailer? Because I don't have time to split it out there at the tree dump. We load anybody during the week on the clock, so I didn't find that to be an issue, especially since burning out there has been such a hot topic. So again, I didn't feel that was an issue. Nobody was being paid. We're not getting paid overtime, let alone straight time. They did it on their own time. I guess that won't happen again, but I did want to explain ourselves on the whole situation. Had he not been on a water main break, he probably would have just cut and split during the morning. But again, that was our own city employee doing that.
And just a reminder, anybody, even, they don't have to be a citizen of Watsika, can take wood out of that tree
I've
dump.
loaded wood during the week
Please
for
come and
people
get
out
it.
of Hoopston. I've had people from the whole surrounding area reached out, and we've loaded firewood for them.
Need people
because
to come
it's
and get
less
it.
we have
I
to
don't care where they're
burn
from.
or chip or deal with. It's getting rid of firewood, and it's providing a source for heat for a lot of people. So a lot of people have complimented on the fact that we're willing to give it away. Because Hoopston, they burn all their wood. They don't give it to their residents. So people come from Hoopston all the time for firewood. So I just wanted to explain ourselves on that. And then a truck idling issue. These are kind of petty things, but I did want to explain ourselves. The majority of our trucks are diesel. All of them have exhaust regeneration systems, DEF systems. The truck was sitting there in regen mode while they're mowing the lot. You're not going to shut the truck off when it's already started regeneration, because the second you start it back up, it's going to start that cycle all over again. You go to the next lot, shut it off. What you're going to do is plug that exhaust up. So sometimes trucks have to run, whether it's regenerating the exhaust system or because we're in a situation where we need hazard lights on, temperatures are low, whatever the case may be. We are very mindful about shutting our vehicles off, our equipment off. We don't waste fuel just to waste fuel, but I did want to explain ourselves. And again, I wish people would call Public Works, City Hall, and ask questions versus just accusations.
Yeah, I wanted to reiterate that over and over again, is that if the citizen of Waseca, of anybody, has things, they see things, they wanted to call the city hall to verify first before making any accusations. I mean, we're the land of free, but we also need to be responsible of what we say, how we say it, and always verify before we say anything.
I'm very transparent. If a resident has a question, I have no problems explaining myself or our situation, what we're doing. So, I mean, again, we have some new council, and I wanted to explain ourselves, so nobody's thinking,
Thank you for the discussion.
On the equipment, we have a truck budgeted for this year. We've got some very old trucks. We have a 2008 or 9 F-250 that's pretty much rusting away to nothing. We've had to put money in it time and time again. That truck needs to be either reduced down to just like a mowing truck to pull mowers around, and or removed and sold. But I do have some quotes I'm going to get on the agenda for next week. I think we need to move forward to purchase another truck so we can cycle one down to the water department. And then our new 3-ton truck has arrived at LeBeau's, but they're waiting on Ron equipment to get the bed and the plow and everything. That's still, it's probably about 3 months out. But we're probably gonna end up having to pay for that sooner rather than later, so I'm working with them on how they wanna handle payment and then what we need to pay up front. So that is all I have. If Keith has anything, I'll let him chime in, but I know it's getting to be late.
I think you got them all.
Any questions from the council on public works, water, sewer, parks?
You guys were laying out stuff at the parks across the street,
Yes, sir.
and you wanted us to go look and see? Is that correct?
You can, we have the pickleball and the sand volleyball, staked out. It's just to kind of give you guys an idea where things are gonna be placed, utilizing the land the best we can with the room we have. The pavilion, we're looking at the band shell is gonna be on the south side of the pavilion. I didn't stake that out earlier, did you, Keith? No.
No, we didn't yet. We don't have a size for it yet, so part of how it shifts or orientates might be based on the size that we go with, so we didn't mark that out yet. But that's scheduled for next year anyway.
And same with the splash pad, that didn't get laid out because we're still working on the dimensions with it. So, and then we did receive all the exercise equipment, so if you see all the crates down in Public Works, that's what's going on there. So we just got all the specs for the concrete pad, so we're hoping to start on that soon.
That's it.
Is that all?
That's all I have.
That all.
Is that all? You ready to go? Okay, I move for an adjournment.
I apologize for having such a long meeting tonight. But I think we discussed a lot of good things tonight, so
I agree.
productive meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.